Abraham, the first father, he got circumcised at the age of 99. In this week's Torah portion, it says that God came to visit him on the third day since he got his circumcision. So the obvious question is, why did God have to wait for the third day? Why couldn't you just visit him right away? If your friend, God forbid, is in the hospital, wouldn't you want to try and visit him as soon as possible? Especially someone like God visiting someone like Abraham. So the answer is like this. Having the circumcision is a mitzvah. A mitzvah is a commandment of God. And something that's very critical to a mitzvah is that it must be done in the ways of nature. I'm going to illustrate this with a story that took place with the founder of Chabad, Rabbi Shneir Zalman. He was put into jail because of some false accusations, and he had to perform the mitzvah of Kiddush Levana, sanctifying the moon, which is done on a monthly basis. We stand outside on a clear night where we could see the moon, and we recite a blessing. So they had to transport him from his jail cell to the interrogation building, and in order to get into this building, they had to cross over a river. So they're traveling on the river, and suddenly Rabbi Shneir Zalman looks up to the sky, and he notices that that there's a moon, and he knew that this was his opportunity. This was his chance to do the mitzvah. So he asked the captain of the boat, of the ferry, could you please stop the boat so I could say this prayer? The captain of the ship gave him a stern look and said, aren't you a prisoner? You have no right to give any commands to me. I will not stop the boat for you. Rabbi Shneir Zalman prayed to God, and miraculously the boat stopped moving. So right away the captain was taken aback, and he soon realized that this is a holy rabbi that he's holding here in this ship. And he told the rabbi, okay, go ahead and do your prayer. But the Alter Rebbe was not satisfied with that. He told the captain that he wants him to turn on the engine of the ship, and he wants the captain on his own to turn off the engine. The captain said no problem. He fired back up the engine, and after a minute or so, the captain himself went and turned off the engine, and only then did the Alter Rebbe go ahead with the sanctifying the moon. What do we see from the story, and why did the Alter Rebbe make it a point that the captain had to be the one to shut off the engine, and when the boat miraculously shut off, when the engine miraculously shut off, the Alter Rebbe did not do the mitzvah. The reason is because, as we said before, when you do a mitzvah, it's critical that you do it in the laws of nature. So that is why the Alter Rebbe had to have the engine of the ship shut off manually in the laws of nature. Why is this so? Because this is the whole purpose of creation, and that is to infuse the physical world with spirituality. Not to go and dominate and to force the physical world, like sadly some religions today try to do, to dominate and shove it down your throat. You got to work with the world, work with the nature in a loving and kindly way, and this is how every mitzvah should be done. It needs to be done within the laws of nature. So this is why, and answers the question why God waited for the third day of Abraham's circumcision, and then he went and visited him. Because our rabbis say that God's visit actually took away Abraham's sickness totally. In other words, the sickness and the pain that was caused through the circumcision, when God visited Abraham, it actually took away the sickness in its entirety, and which is something totally miraculous. So God waited 3 days because according to the laws of nature, it takes a person 3 days to overcome the pain of circumcision. So Abraham did the mitzvah. He did it within the laws of nature. Then on the third day, when nature finally kicked in, then God came along and did his miraculous act and healed Abraham totally.